There's a quasi showdown coming to the House of Representatives, and the Democrats obviously are in the minority and have no power within the House of Representatives. That's just the way that the House of Representatives rules were designed. But they basically are not willing to take certain subjects sitting down, and they are willing to violate the rules of the House in order to have their voices heard. And I agree with them. I feel like if they can get the majority, or at least 1/3 of the members of the House to sign off on a petition in order to bring a bill to the floor, which the majority obviously can vote down. It's not a problem of voting down. But in my mind, it's a question of transparency. We need to know where our representatives are voting and where they stand. They use the various rules and subcommittees and the need to have various bills cleared through these subcommittees before they can hit the floor, and that's just a scam in order to protect membership. I believe that they need to create a rule that if 1/3 of the House of Representatives votes to bring a bill to the floor, that bill must be brought to the floor and given a vote. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, the rules are the rules. Well, you know, rules can evolve, and the House of Representatives is supposed to be a democratic body, but the way that the rules are written for the House, it is as far from being a democratic body as you can get. Majority rules, minority has no voice. In my mind, that's wrong. Now, John Lewis, who you see here, I guess is vowing that there's going to be another sit-in when the House of Representatives comes back in session in July. And Paul Ryan is basically saying that he's not going to allow them to get away with with another sit-in like they did the last one. Well, that's going to be an interesting proposition, because I believe that the Democrats, and I believe there was a Republican that actually joined them. Well, there's some Republicans that joined them. Anyway, I believe that that group is actually going to sit in. And the only way for him to end that sit-in, it would be to physically remove them. But the optics of having the Democrats put in handcuffs, I don't think that Ryan can allow that to be seen by America. Now, he's got one easy out. Basically, just bring the bill that the Democrats are looking at voting on, just bring it to the floor. And all of this ends. Now, they may think that, well, if we let them get away with it one time, then they'll pull it again. And that could be true. And if the Democrats get in power, then the Republicans would probably do the same thing. That's why, in my opinion, if they create a rule that allows the minority party with 1/3 of the overall votes in the House to bring any bill to the floor, the party that's in power obviously has the ability to vote the bill down. Democracy is served. The party that is not in power has an opportunity for that bill to be voted upon. Again, democracy is served. Anyway, let's jump into the panel on this one.
We're gonna win. The fight is not over. This was just one step. But when we come back here on July the 5th, we're gonna continue to push, to pull, to stand up, and if necessary, to sit down or sit down.
Folks, that was civil rights icon Congressman John Lewis when the House Democrats staged their sit-in over gun control last week. They promised a repeat when Congress reconvenes on July 5th. However, House Speaker Paul Ryan says, "No, I ain't having this again."
No, we're not going to handle it the same way.
What would you do differently?
Well, we're working on that, but we will not take this. We will not tolerate this. This is the oldest deliberative body in the world. We're the oldest democracy. And we have rules of decorum so that we can peacefully settle our issues and actually have democracy. What they decided to do was say, we're going to shut all the rules down. If they want to get a bill to the floor, there's a procedure to do that, and they can do that. They've chosen not to do it. It was a publicity stunt.
There are procedures, there are rules. Speaker Ryan has a thing called the U.S. Constitution as well. Now, of course, he didn't give any details as to how he plans to stop House Dems from stating another sit-in. So let's talk about it with our panel. All right, folks, I think on this one, if I'm Congressman John Lewis and other Democrats, I come right back and smack him upside his head and launch another sit-in because, again, they are demanding a vote on a gun bill when they're exercising the First Amendment to deal with the Second Amendment.
Yeah, Democrats pick their timing well here, Roland. One is that the polls show people want some common sense gun reform laws.
No, in a massive way, 85%.
Let me just talk about the sit-in, though. Republicans are going against the polls, number one. Number two, Speaker Ryan and other Republicans have been in a position where they've been defending Donald Trump during a period of weeks where Donald Trump has looked weak in the polls. So Democrats picked a good spot here to challenge him. I agree with you that they should come back again and do another sit-in if necessary to demonstrate their point. It's regardless of where people stand on the merits, it's an effective tool. The one thing I just wanted to add, though, to that, though, Speaker Ryan, to maintain control of his caucus, probably has to take a firmer stand and can't be as collegial with Democrats.
Well, here's the deal. Speaker Paul Ryan is a fraud on this because he knows that if that bill is actually put on the floor, it passes. There are Republicans who want to vote for it. Right. The problem is he doesn't want to vote because there are some Republicans who will not vote for it, and they don't want to be on the record voting against a bill that would take guns out of the hand of folks on the terror list.
Absolutely. And he's just blowing smoke here about what he would do, what he was not going to tolerate, because the reality is it would be horrible optics if you have all of a sudden Capitol Police coming in there pulling respected individuals like a John Lewis off of the floor. I mean, we all know the history of this nation and the history of sit-ins and the reality of what democracy really is about. It's about being able to stand up to unjust laws, or in this situation, stop a continued movement by this Congress, I guess non-movement by this Congress, to address issues that are critical and that have led to the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans. And so if he wants to play that game, I say let him play that game. Call his bluff.
Cleo, I don't believe there are people in this country, if they saw Capitol Police dragging off Congressman John Lewis, 76 years old, civil rights icon, the last remaining speaker of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. There's no way in the world Paul Ryan comes out looking good in that situation.
Yeah, I think you're right, but not everybody knows our history. Not everybody's going to recognize who John Lewis is.
Well, as Kevin Hart said, you're going to learn today.
Yeah, they might learn today, but see, again, we're being rational about how people are going to behave, and I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Ryan, does what he said he's going to do.
Yeah, it will not look good to have the hero of the Edmund Pettus Bridge dragged off the floor out of the well of the house. No, that's what I'm saying. It won't look good to many Americans, maybe the majority of Americans, but it may be what Speaker Ryan needs to do to essentially gain control of his caucus. He looks weak right now because he's saddled with
First of all, I don't give a damn how his caucus feels. My fundamental problem.
No, I don't either.
My fundamental problem. What keeps happening in this House is that they continue to invoke this so-called Hastert rule. You know, the guy right now who's in prison because he sexually assaulted some boys when he was a wrestling coach, that same Dennis Hastert. Okay, so what you have here is you have this ridiculous rule of if we don't have the 218 votes in our caucus, then we're not going to sit here and bring up to a vote, when the reality is there are enough Republicans combined with the Democrats who vote for it who would actually pass it. And in fact, it's a Congressman, Peter King, Republican from New York. It's his bill.
Yes.
Right, but logic makes complete sense, except if you're Speaker Ryan.
But damn about his caucus.
No, I'm just talking about the political strategy.
Okay, that's nice.
It's good political strategy for him to do what he's threatening to do, and it's good political strategy for the Democrats to say we're going to come back again for another sit-in.
Democrats sit in July 5th and July 6th and July 7th. And then come back on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and dare Speaker Ryan to drag you off of the floor. Let's see what those optics are like in the country.
All right, so it looks like there could be a potential showdown between Ryan and the Democrats, though Ryan has the power, but the optics are obviously not on his side. And on this one, he played this completely wrong. He should have just brought the damn thing out for a vote and let the chips fall where they may, because with Trump being at the head of the ticket, this particular election this fall is going to be an election like none that we've seen in the last 20 or 30 years. So people are going to have to stand pretty much on their own merits if you're a Republican. Now, again, even as a Democrat, people are going to have to stand on their own merits. But I foresee that this is going to put foot to ass on a lot of Republicans, especially those that are located in blue or purple states. And based on the Supreme Court's review of these gerrymandering creations by various states, it will not be this November, but 2018 and 2020, you are going to see a radical change in the structure of a lot of these House districts. And given the browning of America, there could be a substantial change in the House of Representatives, if not also a substantial change and lock-in in the Senate. And as far as the election of the President of the United States, given the direction and trajectory of the Republican Party, they could have seen their last presidential candidate being elected with the name Bush.